Hello everyone, welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Chris. Chris is from New York City, so let's see what Chris has to say. Enjoy the interview. So Chris, how are you doing today? How's your Sunday going so far this morning?
Good so far. I went to the gym, did some work, and then now I'm here. Very easy, relaxing day, which is what I like. Doesn't usually happen that way, but it's also like 70 degrees in New York right now, which is insane.
Oh wow. So you are based in New York City.
Yes, I am. I'm based in Brooklyn and Williamsburg in New York.
Wow. Tell me, what's the best part of waking up in New York City every morning? Tell me, what's the experience, the feeling?
Oh, the best part is the energy. The energy it's the best part. I mean, I've lived in Los Angeles. I grew up in Florida, but there's nothing like the feeling of waking up in New York because you can step outside and then there's just not everybody's happy all the time, but there's this constant energy. And if you're in a bad mood, it just propels you forward. It keeps you moving forward because it's like, okay, just put one foot in front of the other and keep moving, keep going.
As you saying that you were born in Los Angeles, but you grew up in Florida.
No, so I lived in Los Angeles. I was actually born in Kentucky, grew up in Florida. After college, I moved to Los Angeles. I was there for about 5 years, and then I've moved to New York in 2002. So I've been here for 20 years in September.
Actually, a coincidence between you and me. I moved to Europe from Brazil in 2002 as well.
Oh, right.
But it was in March 2002. My goodness, it's gonna be 20 years. Actually, this month is 20 years that I left Brazil.
It's also crazy how the time flies, isn't it?
I know, it feels like yesterday actually. And to be honest to you, I lived in Portugal 5 years before moving to London. So these 5 years in Portugal, it went like this. And I've been here in England for the last 17 years. And I can't believe it. I can't believe it's 20 years already. My goodness, it's insane.
I do love Portugal.
Really?
I love Portugal, yeah.
Have you been there before? Where's about in Portugal?
I've been to Porto and I've been to Lisbon.
Yes, I was in Porto. That's Porto for me. It's always gonna have this beautiful, special place in my heart because that's where everything started. That's where my journey. This 19 years old boy arriving in Europe for the very first time without knowing anyone.
Oh.
Of course, Portuguese is my first language, but
right.
The Portuguese in Portugal, there's nothing. Like I was in Porto, I couldn't understand a word. I was like, oh my God, I don't believe I'm in a country who speaks Portuguese because I couldn't understand anything they were saying.
Like, this is not the Portuguese I speak.
I know. It was a challenge, but I'm so fortunate that I had the experience of living there because I made friends for life. And also, I got to see where my language came from, where everything started, you know what I mean? So I think there's always a beautiful journey and there is a beautiful memories about living in a foreign country. But tell me, why New York?
Well, I feel like I'm a gay man, and I feel like in the United States, there's only a few cities in this country that I would feel comfortable living in. San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York would be the main three, and Chicago. But I also work in film and television, so I really have two options on where I can live in the United States. And that's Los Angeles or New York. And I am not the biggest fan of Los Angeles. Like I don't like that city at all. It's just, to me, I when I lived there, I have wonderful, amazing friends there, but I didn't have a good time. It wasn't good for my mental health.
I see. So tell me a little bit about your job, Chris, your career.
Sure. So I do a lot of television production. I worked on a show for National Geographic called Brain Games, which is pop science about how the brain functions. The series was designed as a way to get young people interested in science again, and to actually present science in a fun and entertaining way and an engaging way. So, kids of all ages could engage and react to science in a way that was positive, because I feel like the United States education system doesn't really teach, especially math and sciences, in a way that's palatable for people. We all learn differently. Our brains all work a little differently, but it provided us an opportunity to present sort of heady science topics in a way that were fun and engaging. Aside from that, I have a lot of personal projects that I work on dealing with youth activism around the globe. And I do a lot of true crime, so murder shows.
Oh,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But all of them connect with TV, with
Yes,
the TV.
all television projects, yes.
I see. Very good. Okay, Chris, so through our journey, I'm going to explore a little bit more about your job, about your life, about New York, okay?
Sure.
Are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and to share your point of views?
Okay, I am.
Welcome to William and the Magic Box. So I have here my lovely box. Full of random fun questions, okay? I'm just gonna play a song now just for us to move a little bit before the first question.
All right.
Let's do it. Great, I'm glad you like dancing.
Always.
Great, so just before I started, before the game, if there is a question that you don't want to talk about for some reason, you don't want to answer, I always can change, okay? It's all very friendly, okay? First question for you is, describe yourself in one positive word and one negative word only.
And one positive word and one negative word. The positive word I would use would be empathetic.
Mm-hmm.
The negative word I would use would be self-doubt.
Tell me a little bit about why is that?
Self-doubt? I think a lot of people in the arts have a lot of self-doubt. It's, there's this interesting idea of imposter syndrome where you feel like you don't really belong. Like, I know I'm really good at my job. I know I'm really good at what I do, but there are moments where I doubt myself. And I have a fantastic therapist that I work through all of this with, but those feelings still come up. And I really think, given what we've gone through for the last 2 years, it's come up more because you don't get to see your friends that much. You don't get to see your family that much. And when that happens, as a creative person, you sort of lose focus sometimes, and you sort of lose not the joy for life, but you just start doubting things. It's like, okay, then why am I really doing this? Like, what I hate to use this term, but it's like, but what does it all mean? You know what I mean? It's like like during the pandemic, it was, or I guess we're still in the pandemic, but there were moments where I would get up and I was like, I didn't have much desire to do much of anything. Mm-hmm. And I feel like a lot of people were probably in that and felt the same way. And I think as we slowly come out of this, there's still that dull feeling sometimes that I get just from being, because we were isolated for so long and things still aren't completely open. I still have a lot of, it still freaks me out sometimes to go out, because I actually never got COVID, never caught it, thank God, knock on wood. But there's part of me, it's like, I don't want to catch it. So I still struggle sometimes for that sort of like, I think the best word would be for community.
And saying that, Chris, when you find yourself in these moments, when you're self-doubting yourself, mm-hmm. when you feel like this uncertainty, what do you do to kind of try to put your mindset in a different way? There's something that you kind of do it, or you kind of just let it go naturally?
So sometimes I sit with the thoughts, because I feel like that's very important to figure out what the root of the issue is. But I also do breathing exercises. I do a lot of breathing exercises to help me sort of like free my mind. My therapist explained, because I was never one to meditate. I've told friends this. It's like when I meditate, it's like then all these bad thoughts come up. And a friend of mine who meditates all the time, he's like, that's sort of the point. I was like, but I don't like that. So I started doing breathing exercises, and those really, really help, because it sort of gets you in that same place as meditating would, except you're just concentrating on opening your lungs, and breathing and filling your body with fresh air.
See, amazing. Yeah, I think all of us, when we have those uncertainty moments or those anxious moments as well, it's good when you try to find a way to get away of these feelings. You know what I mean? Even though, as you said, it's important to feel it, to try to understand why you're feeling this way. It's always important as well to get to know why it's happening. Don't run away, but just try to not to take over of your mood, of your moment.
Well, in the past, I would run away, and I think that's I just wouldn't deal with those feelings, and that's, for me, that's really bad, because they're not going anywhere. They're just going to get worse unless I deal with them. So I try to deal with them as quickly as possible. Like, as soon as I start feeling that way, it's like, okay, why is this happening? Where is this coming from? Let's figure it out.
Good. So, and that's how we find the answers. Figuring it out.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes we might not like the answers, but better to know them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Next one. Let's do it, Chris. Before the next question, tell me, what do you like the most about your job? And of course, there's always a challenging part as well. What that would be?
What do I like most about my job? I love that I get to meet people. I love that I get to be creative, and that I work with, friends of mine that I consider family. That's what I really love about it the most. Conversely, it is a job, and it comes with its own set of unique issues. I freelance, so I work show to show. So once one show's over, I have to look for the next show, and that can be really draining after a while, because there's not a lot of job security in what I do.
I see.
Yeah.
Next question for you is, as a child, have you ever stolen anything, and how did it happen?
Have I ever stolen anything as a child?
Yeah, and how did it happen?
Yes. My sister always reminds me of this. So my mother's older brother lived in Arkansas, and so did our grandmother. And we would go every Christmas to Jonesboro, Arkansas, to visit family. I think I was 4 years old. We went to this place called the Jitney Jr., which was a convenience store, and I stole a bunch of candy. I was filling my pockets with candy, and my sister caught me and made me bring it back.
Wow.
As I was trying to take the candy out and eat it as well.
Yeah. You have a good sister.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Is that you just two of you just have one sibling, one sister?
No, I have my sister's the oldest. I have a brother who is the middle child, and then me, I'm the youngest.
Very good. Next question. Let's do it. Okay, Chris from New York. Next question is, what makes you most proud?
Oh. Wow. What makes me the most proud? Here's an answer for you. I am a recovering drug addict. I haven't used in several years, and I have no desire to use. That's what makes me the most proud. Is that I was able to fight that battle, and I think I've kicked it. So,
are you okay to talk about it?
Sure, of course. Yeah. Talk about it all the time.
Tell me, so during that challenge period of your life, when you look back and you see, now you can see the message out of this challenge journey in your life. Mm-hmm. What is the most positive lesson you've learned through that period of your life? And also, what was the wake-up call that you said, okay, that's the moment that I need to change my life. I need to stop this, this
spiral.
This spiral that you are going through. So tell me what that will be. So
I think the most important out of the recovery journey for me is learning to set boundaries with people, with friends and family and coworkers, because when I was in heavy addiction, I would let people walk all over me. Like I never had the ability, I had the ability, I never used my ability to say no and to stop people from taking advantage of me. And when I hit like my lowest point, I was working on a show in Los Angeles. I'd come back from LA. And this is why I'd say LA is not good for my mental health. I was using heavily there. And it was the first day I got back, I realized that I had a really big problem. So I actually called, there's the New York Gay and Lesbian Center here in Manhattan. So I called them because they have one of the best outpatient rehabilitation programs in the country. So I called them, reached out to them, went in the next day. And that's when I started my journey of recovery.
Wow. And it took for you a long period for you to say, okay, I'm out of it now. I'm confident with myself at the moment. It took a long way.
So I used for many years, but it did, like, once I made that decision to go to recovery, then it was sort of all or nothing. It was like, I know I need to do this. And if I started using again, I would probably end up dead. So it's like, I was looking at my options. It's like, do I want to live a healthy life or do I want to be dead? Pretty easy answer.
Very good. Good for you. That's good that you're strong enough to make that decision. For sure, some people, they are not, you know what I mean? They're not, let's say, strong enough, you know?
Absolutely not. Well, the first battle in recovery that you have to win is being able to admit that you have a problem. If you can't admit you have a problem, you're never going to get well, because I did that for years. Like, I never thought, it's like, I don't look like an addict. Those other people look like addicts. I just use occasionally. That's the first mistake. That was my first mistake, is trying to push off my personal pain and my usage and blame other people and say I didn't have a problem, everybody else does. So the moment I realized that is when I really knew I needed to get help. And it took a couple years after that until I did.
Thanks for sharing that. Thank you very much. Next question for you. Chris, before the next question, tell me, as you mentioned about being a gay guy, did you always have the support of your family?
For the most part, yes. Like, when I came out, I was 21, 22. My family was very, very supportive. Most of my family. I have a couple family members that were not supportive, and in case they're watching, I don't want to go into that because they are now. But for me coming out, it was a struggle because I grew up in the late 80s and early 90s, and you were taught if you're a gay man and you love another man, you were going to get AIDS and die. That's what we were taught. So it was a huge struggle, and I grew up in a very conservative part of Florida. So there was always this like little like voice in the back of my head telling me not to admit my truth. But then when I moved to LA, it became much easier.
Yeah. And the day when you came out, you just said, okay, that's the day something happened, or you said, okay, I'm going to come out today. I'm going to be myself today.
So I didn't actually come out to my parents. My sister did for me. So I told my sister, and she's like, do you want me to tell mom and dad? I was like, yes, please. Because I was scared to death of doing that. And she did. And my mom was like, yes, I've always known. It's fine. My dad's response to me was like, yeah, I don't care. Send me your car insurance. That was it. That was their response. Which to me, like, because I was always scared of that rejection. I was always scared that they wouldn't love me anymore. And that really, it wasn't the case. And I know I am very lucky when it comes to coming out, because I have a lot of friends who were not nearly as lucky as I was and didn't have family and parents that were as gracious as mine. So I count myself very blessed for that.
I had an interview a few weeks ago with someone from Canada, and he mentioned about that as well, about coming out in the 80s, that, people have this about AIDS. If you come out, there's, as you said, you're going to catch AIDS and you're going to die, like what's happening around the world. And I think that's for sure. I think nowadays is much easier, because at the time for sure it was very tough and difficult for you even to accept, to understand as well, because you're facing something real, you know what I mean? Imagine
Yeah.
coming out and at the same time as well need to face this scary about AIDS, about the uncertainty what was happening. My God, I'm sure it was a very dark and difficult period at the time.
Yeah. I mean, I have friends, like I went to high school with a guy who, when he came out, his parents rejected him and he ended up committing suicide a few months later. Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, that was 1995. 1994. Sorry, 1994 when that happened. Yeah.
Sad. Next question for you is, Chris, what is the first thing that you think about when you wake up? Usually.
Ooh. Oh, that's such a tough question because it depends on the day. If it's a weekday, I normally wake up and think, okay, what do I have to get done today? Like, what on my work schedule? Like, I write down, I can show you something. So everything I do, work, I have to write down on this pad. So every task in the day gets written down here. So if it's a work day, when I wake up, I think, what do I need to get done today? And how do I start this process? If it's the weekend, I run a lot. I go to the gym a lot. I'll think about like, okay, how am I going to start my day? What time do I want to get up and like, am I going to go run now? Am I going to wait an hour? Or am I just going to go to the gym and run at the gym? Those are normally what I think about.
Okay, as you showed me your schedule in front of me, tell me now which one you wrote on this page, the first task and the last one, the one you showed me now, if you can share.
Sure.
I'm curious.
The first task on this page is take computer to Apple because my computer was having issues. And then a friend of mine actually, he's like, turn it off, turn it on, which I did. And then there was no issue. So,
and the last one?
The last one is send clip to Joe L, which is a clip of a film I'm helping some friends on.
Oh,
So,
beautiful.
yeah.
I'm just wondering now if you put there William the Magic Box at what time was that? I think we managed it. I'm just joking. I'm just teasing
yours is in here. It's,
no way.
Yeah, it's midway through that list. I literally have to write everything. Like everything gets written down because otherwise, even though everything goes into my my digital computer, it's so much easier. I feel like it helps me remember things if I actually write it down because it becomes tangible, because I'm actually feeling the paper, I'm feeling the pen in my hand as I move it to write.
Absolutely. I have this habit as well, doing that sometimes, because just the way, it's like a reminder when you do it, when you write, it's like a double reminder that you need to do it.
And it just sticks with me. If I don't write stuff down, I'll forget.
Saying that,
I will forget.
Are you most of a day or a night person?
Oh, I'm a morning person now. Like when I was using a lot, I was a night person because that's when you do that. But now I get up most days like 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the morning. Yeah.
Oh,
go to
early
bed
birds.
10 o'clock. Hear the birds. Watch the sunrise.
In New York. In Brooklyn, in Brooklyn, New York, as good as that.
The beautiful forestry that is in Brooklyn, New York, all the tops of the buildings.
Next question. Chris, when I was checking your profile on Instagram, I could see that you are running a halfway marathon to raise some money for a charity.
Yes. So I've been doing this for the past 5 years. Me and a group of friends run for Housing Works, which is a New York-based, it's actually they're a national organization, but they're an organization that helps fight the fight to end HIV/AIDS, and they help find housing for homeless LGBTQ plus youth. So I have run in Lisbon. I've run a half marathon in Lisbon. I ran a half marathon in Mallorca. I ran a half marathon in Amsterdam. We ran in Boise, Idaho this past year because we couldn't travel internationally. But This year we're running in Scotland. So it's every fall. This year the race is September 18th in Edinburgh. It's always a half marathon. So each of me and each of my teammates, we're required to raise a certain amount of money for the organization. And it's a lot of fun because the people that I run with are all very close friends.
Amazing. I'm glad you said that to come to Scotland. I'd like you to answer the next question with your best Scottish accent. Joking.
Oh God, yeah.
Can you do it? Can you make it do it?
Scottish. I think
yeah.
I don't know if I can. I could do Scottish. Like I'm trying to think of
what
was the
let's say
the movie.
Let's say Scottish or British. Let's see. Either way, okay? You can answer the next question. Which one is easier for you, okay? Let's see. Right. Chris, next question is, what makes you most uncomfortable about dating?
You said British or Scottish? Let's see if I can do a British accent. If you're talking British, I guess it's a little bit more like this. Oh my God, this question is going to be so hard to answer in an accent. I'm going to try though. British accent. See, you put me on the spot. All right, I'm going to do this. I promise I'm going to do this. Talking in a British accent would be a little bit like this. I think if it is British, it would be self-esteem issues, trying to actually meet somebody. If I was meeting somebody for work, it would be perfectly fine. But for a relationship, very difficult. That's what I got for a British accent. If you didn't put me on the spot, I could have done it.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Good, thank you very much. Thanks. And you talk about dating. Tell me, dating in New York, in the gay scene, do you find as a challenge, as it's easy to date in New York, or it's kind of both, big cities, how things can be? Tell me a little bit about it.
New York is often referred to as the loneliest big city in the world. And I think it has that moniker for true reasons, because I have wonderful friends, I have lovely friends, but dating I find very difficult because I'm not like this, but a lot of people that I meet are like this. There's always a better option. Or if you're like me, and I have to remind myself of this a lot, because I will get really nervous to go up to talk to somebody that I find attractive or interesting. It's like, oh, they're going to reject me. My therapist told me something really important. It's like, yeah, but they might be thinking the same thing. They might be nervous as well, which is very true. But and logically I know that, but thinking about that more on a subconscious, conscious level, and taking logic out of this, the emotion starts to come in, and it's like, oh, now I actually have to make that move and go talk to somebody. I find it easier if I'm with a group of friends and I can have somebody make the introduction for me. That's when it becomes easier. But if I have to do it on my own, I would be the person sitting in a bar not talking to anybody. And if somebody I can never tell if somebody's hitting on me. I have no clue at all. Like, I have friends who are like, oh, that guy was hitting on you. I was like, he was just saying hi. It's like, oh, right. It's like, I'm lost with that. And I know a lot of people are too.
I'll tell you something now. Interesting saying that, because if I would go, for example, if I would be in a bar or in a public place where, there are so many people, actually, if I would see somebody sitting alone there, it would get my attention personally. Yeah. Totally. I think your therapist is very right about, because, for me personally, I tend to, when I see those, you don't need to be shy, but if I see this guy, you know what I mean, in the corner, or kind of alone, or kind of a bit insecure about the place, oh my God, that for me, I would just go like that. I said, my God, that's the person who get my attention.
Well, and I have a couple friends that I hang out with a lot, and when we see somebody in that situation, that's who we go talk to. And we always invite them in. It's like that. This happened the other night. There was a guy sitting out back of a bar that I go to all the time, and he looked nervous and sad. So my friend David was like, "Hey, what's your name?" The guy told him his name. He's like, "Come over and talk to us." He's like, "Oh, thank you." He's like, "I'm in town from Nebraska. I don't really know anybody here." We're like, "Well, now you do." So, yeah.
And that's how they got married.
Of course. This is how I met your father.
Funny. Next question. Let's do it. Chris from New York. Next question is, what is something you wish you could do every single day?
What is something I wish I could do every single day? Run, probably. I wish I could run every day. Actually, I'm going to take that back. I'm going to go a little dark on this. I wish I could talk to my mom. My mom passed away about 14 months ago. Yeah, that would be my answer.
Oh, sorry to hear that. And it's a sweet answer. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Very sweet. Ready for another one?
Sure am.
Sure you are. Let's do it. But before the next question, Chris, I had a few people like actors, artists from the US, from LA, from New York, and I always kind of am quite curious about that. In your opinion, being a filmmaker, being in this business, do you think LA and New York, they are the places where, okay, that's the place to be if you want to, you know what I mean, be a well-known professional, like, you know, being seen around the scene, that's the best two places, or how things are in your opinion?
In the United States, 100%, you have two options, New York or Los Angeles. New York or Los Angeles is the better choice because there's more work out of Los Angeles. That is the global epicenter of the entertainment industry. New York is a close second, but globally, Toronto has a vibrant film and television scene. Vancouver does. Clearly, Toronto does. London does. Clearly, London does.
Yeah.
Tokyo, Beijing. There are epicenters around the globe that would work. But in terms of the United States, it would be Los Angeles, then New York.
I see. Okay. Yeah. Next question is, maybe this one is going to be easy for you to answer. What has been the lowest point of your life?
Oh, yeah, that's easy. My usage. That was the lowest point of my life. It's a tough question because the obvious answer would seem to be like when I lost my mother, but my mother had been sick for so long that it wasn't unexpected. So I would go with the lowest point of my life being when I was using heavily and not being able to control it. That would have been the lowest point.
All right. I have 3 questions left for you.
All right.
Let's do it. Next question for you, Chris, is what do you like the most about yourself?
What do I like the most about myself? That I am kind. I'm a very kind person. I'm a firm believer, and my industry is very difficult. That there's a lot of very large personalities, but I'm a firm believer that it takes more energy to be an asshole than it does just to be nice to somebody. Even if I don't get along with that person, even if they're not my favorite person in the world, I'm still going to be nice because at the end of the day, I don't know what they're going through. So, there's always this thing where people are like, oh, that person was rude to me. That person was mean to me. It's like, yeah, but it probably wasn't about you. It was about them because you don't know where they are in their life right now. You don't know what's going on a day to day. So I always make the choice to be as kind and gentle with people as I possibly can. There are days where I struggle with that, where it gets a little difficult, where, I talk to people, I'm like, oh, you're really driving me crazy. But I wouldn't say that to them. I would try to be very calm and gentle about it and say, hey, maybe let's think about this situation in a different way.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think being kind and try to put yourself in somebody's shoes and try to understanding that, some days we have those days where we are going through something really tough, and sometimes you don't see in the eyes, but if you look behind, there's something happening, and sometimes you need to be compassionate and understanding.
100%, because look, at the end of the day, we're all humans. We are
Yeah.
all flawed. But instead of calling out those flaws, call out call out something that's great about somebody. It's like, I always try, since we got out of lockdown, I told myself that I was going to say hello to one person that I didn't know every day. Sometimes I get very bizarre looks from people. And then sometimes people are like, oh, hi. And it's sort of, or I try to give somebody a compliment a day. Just, you see people walking down the street or in a store or something, and they look like they're having a rough day. If you just say, hey, you know what? You look really great. Or I love your shirt or something like that. It cheers people up, and maybe for that one moment, they feel better about themselves for that day. So
Absolutely.
that's what I try to do.
Absolutely. A small gesture of a kindness can change, oh my God, even as you said, can change a person's day or week or even year with this little kindness gesture. I totally agree. 2 questions left for you.
All right.
But before the next one, in your opinion, regarding the COVID crisis, what in the entertainment business, show business, what was the biggest positive impact that COVID brought, and what's the biggest negative impact that brought for the entertainment business, in your opinion?
Well, for me personally, I think the biggest thing, for me, the best thing that it taught my industry is that we don't all have to be in offices. We can work remotely. I mean, there are parts of working remotely that I love. I would love to get to a hybrid system where I could be in an office like 2 days a week and at home 3 days a week. But for the longest time, the industry, it's like you have to go into an office, you have to be in at this time. But people have realized, at least for creatives, I'm far more productive when I get to do my work on my time. Like if somebody says, I need you to write a script from the hours of 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., that's never going to work for me because there's already pressure right there.
Yeah.
If I got home and started writing at midnight, that's fine, because that's when you never understand when somebody's creativity is actually flowing. And to put such stringent timelines on it, to me that's a recipe for disaster. And what was the biggest negative? The negative impact was all the production that got closed during the pandemic and the people who lost their jobs. That was the biggest. I'm lucky because that didn't happen to me, but I have countless friends who didn't work for almost a year because of what COVID was doing and how production was handling it and how companies were handling it. I am lucky that I work for a company. We came up with a very creative way of continuing our shows. We just sent out cameras and filmed remotely, which a lot of people are doing now. But a lot of people didn't have that. They didn't have that luxury. And they were like, I have a couple friends that worked for one company specifically, and the entire staff was let go in one day, the Monday after we went into lockdown. Everybody gone. No severance, no warning, nothing. And because we work, almost all of us in the industry work as freelancers, there's no recourse. It's like if they don't want to give you severance, they don't have to give you severance. They can let you go at a moment's notice, which is what happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's always the positive and the negative side, you know what I mean? It brings, that's... Next question is, if you could go anywhere in the world right now, where would you go and why?
I could go anywhere in the world right now. Oh, I think I would go to New Zealand. I've never been, and I've always wanted to go to New Zealand. I also know that their COVID numbers are really good. I mean, they're doing quite well, but New Zealand is one of those countries that's on my bucket list. Like or Japan, not Tokyo, but like into like the mountains of Japan. Those would be my two. I know you only asked for one, but I'm giving you two.
And if you want
to be in nature, I would really, both of those areas.
And if you need a company to go to Japan, let me know, because Japan is my top of my bucket list to know and to explore, at least not for like weeks.
Let's go together. Let's do it.
Yes, like weeks. It's something that is a place that I would like to go with time, and with learning to explore, to be able to live. You know what I mean? Being in Japan is somewhere that I think it's magic. I think they are so ahead of us. You know what I mean? The culture, the way they see life.
Yes.
Everything.
Well, it's interesting because my views on travel, it's when I go somewhere, I don't have an itinerary, I don't have an agenda. I just like to go and immerse myself in the culture and not worry about it. It's like I have friends, it's like they have very strict schedules when they travel. It's like on Monday I'm going to this museum. I won't do that at all, because it's like things change. It's like I just want to I want to experience it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't stay in hotels anymore either. I'll get Airbnbs, because I think to me, it's like find a really good neighborhood that you like, that seems fun.
Absolutely.
And it also gives people in those communities, gives them some money instead of like giving them to like big hotel chains.
Absolutely. Okay, let's put in my diary here. Going to Japan with Chris.
2023, let's do it.
2023. Ready for the last one?
Last question.
Let's do it. But before the last one, people watch the interview. Would you like to start a career as producing or shows and the work that you do? What would be the best piece of advice for those people?
Best piece of actually, I'm gonna do it in a couple pieces. One, people have to understand that most of working in this industry is customer service. It's knowing how to talk to people and knowing how to communicate with people and not letting people get under your skin. And if you really want to get into the industry, start networking. Truly, start networking. Meet people in your community that have worked in the industry or still work in the industry in whatever way. And then start going on Facebook. Use social media to find people that, live in Los Angeles and live in New York. I mean, goodness, like the kid that I was telling you that was from Nebraska that I met the other night, he actually wants to work in the industry. He just moved here from Nebraska, and I told him, I was like, let's grab a coffee and I will help you. So I would say find people like me that are willing to help you. And don't take no for an answer. If somebody tells you no, that's not the end of the world. Find somebody else. If you get 100 no's, somebody's going to say yes at some point. Don't ever give up. Don't give up, because the industry is tough, but once you're in it and you're in it, and you can make really good work.
Very good. Last question for you is, tell us something that have you done that you feel very proud of yourself.
Something that I've done that I feel very proud of myself. Oh, getting sober. That's an easy. I don't even know why I had to think about that. Yeah, getting sober would be the number one thing that I'm the most proud of, because I can't say I did it by myself, because I had a lot of friends and family and my sponsor that helped me, but I'm the one who took myself to outpatient rehabilitation, and I'm the one who continues to go to meetings every week. I continue to talk about it. As you can see, I'm very open about it. I will talk to, if anybody has any questions about it, I will absolutely talk to you about it, because I think it's very important for both your physical and mental health to be able to say, hey, you know what? I might have a problem. If I've got a problem, is there somebody that I can talk to? So, yes, getting sober.
Good one.
Yeah.
It's not the end yet. Let's play now the word association game. I'm going to give away some words, and just tell one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking.
Oh, I love this game. Yes, let's go.
So, I hope you are enjoying the interview. Before we do the word association game, don't forget to give a like. Don't forget to share this video, and also don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Just click on the button right there. Thank you so much and enjoy the word association game. Money.
Green.
Okay,
Figure
family.
Family. Security.
How about love?
Challenging.
It can be. One word for life.
Happiness.
One word for sex.
Horny.
Politics.
Oh, divisive.
Religion.
Ooh, the first word that comes to my mind is sham. I'm sorry for anybody who's religious.
Fear.
Lonely.
Friendship.
Happiness.
Desire.
Lust.
Regret.
Sadness.
Success.
Questionable.
Wish.
Lust.
One word for happiness.
Content.
One word for being sober.
Life.
One word for LA.
Pain.
One word for Florida.
Sunny.
And the last one now, New York.
Life.
Actually, one more, USA, one word.
One word for USA. Confusing.
Interesting. Right, let's pretend now we're going to meet your best friend for a coffee. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to ask him, tell me the most beautiful, her?
Her, yeah.
Okay, sorry.
No
I'm gonna need to, I should have said him or her. Anyway, I'm going to meet your lovely best friend for a coffee, and I'm going to ask her, tell me the most beautiful thing about Chris, and the same time as well, tell me something that he still needs to work on, to improve on. What she would say?
That I'm very kind, which she would say as a positive. As a negative, I need to be better at communicating, because sometimes I if it's work, I communicate all the time, but when it comes to like, I'll forget to text people back, I'll forget to call people back, and I know it drives people crazy. It's not because I'm avoiding people, it's just, again, if I don't write it down, it's not going to happen. And you know, even on top of that, it's like the communication, it would be coupled with like, a lot of times I don't like conflict. I don't have a problem with conflict, but sometimes it scares me. And I think she would probably say something to that effect as well.
What is your star sign, just for curiosity?
So I am right on the cusp of Capricorn and Aquarius, January 21st at 4 a.m.
Wow. Actually, my best friend, you're talking about lack of communication. You know, my best friend, he was born in 25th of January. So it's kind of...
Yeah.
Close.
Yeah. Yes.
Totally. You're talking to me now. You're describing. I could see him in front of me describing that, because we had so many crashes because of that.
Yeah. And it's never. It's like it's never an affront to you. It's like it's just, that's just how my mind works. You know, if I forget it, it's like, I forgot it. You know, it happened.
I'm glad that you put in your list William the Magic Box today. Let's play now, Chris and the Magic Box, and you can ask me a question. But before that, let's play the music one more time.
Right.
Okay, Chris, you can ask me a question now.
What brings you happiness?
Oh my God. I can answer that straight away. What brings me happiness is this, what I'm doing right now. This is something that I go to bed thinking about it. I wake up every single morning thinking about it. I go to work thinking about it. Everything I do in my life, it's about this. I'm so grateful that in 2020, when the world went upside down, and this these beautiful projects genuinely came to me. Like I never forget the place. I was like running, exercise always a good thing. I was running the park, and I remember exactly the place and the time where I was literally running, and suddenly this idea just came to my mind. And I'll tell you something, Chris. I literally stopped. I remember I stopped and I looked up and said, my God, it was so powerful that I said, my goodness, that's what I'm going to do. I was looking for something that I could do creative, something that I would like to do in YouTube, but I couldn't think about something. And actually this interaction I always done in my life, going on holidays with friends, meeting friends for barbecues. In the end, I always go like, oh, tell me who was your favorite teacher? Oh, this kind of interaction. Of course, I never done a bigger proportion as I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
But this is something that makes me like the happiest person in the entire world. Believe me, it's something that I could do 24 hours non-stop, because it brings me a lot of joy, a lot of energy. I'm so fortunate to hear stories from people like you, people around the world, sharing beautiful challenges, beautiful memories, inspiring stories. I think that, imagine me, like how fortunate I am to be able to hear those stories and also thinking about and take that for my personal life. So if I would see somebody doing that interaction, I would be like, oh my God, I'd like to be doing that, So yeah, so that's what brings me happiness every single day, for sure.
I love that. Who's on your shirt? Who's on your t-shirt? Amazing.
Look.
That's fantastic.
Wheel in the matchbox.
Fantastic. I love that.
Chris, did you have a good time?
I had a great time. This was a lot of fun. I really
Thank you so much.
appreciate you picking me. Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking the time on Sunday for the interview. Thanks for being open and sharing your memories. Thanks for bringing this, positivity, this inspiration, message to the show. It was a pleasure. And say that actually, I didn't, when I saw your profile, I tend not to look too much into it, because I like to see, to get to know my guest through the interview. And your profile didn't have a lot. And I just knew that you're from New York because you mentioned in the message, and I knew about the marathon. So I was like, okay, that's going to be like an open book. I'm going to explore a lot.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because I'm in my mid 40s and I didn't grow up with social media. And there's part of me, it's like, I don't want to like blast everything about my life on social media. It's like the people that I want to know about it are in my life already, and I can tell them. And there's also part of me, it's like, I look at some posts and it's like, I feel like it's a little braggadocious. It's like they're bragging too much. And I know there are younger people that, social media can be really bad for your mental health. So I don't want to contribute to that. I was like, I'm more than happy to post certain things, but other than that, it's like, nobody really needs to know that about me. But I really love doing this, because when it's a conversation, then absolutely, I will tell you anything you want to know. I try not to have any secrets.
And saying that, when you said about that you are, a TV producer, you work in this business, for some reason, I always get intimidated when I find out that someone works in this show business, because of course I'm starting now, you know what I mean? I'm kind of learning. But I'm so glad that I didn't know that, because if I knew, I would know that before, I would be like, oh my God, I'm gonna be careful.
I'm glad I didn't say anything to begin. I'm glad I didn't say anything when we were messages.
No, but you are so open, approachable as well, and you made me feel comfortable, I think.
But no, I felt very comfortable as well. You're really fantastic. This was a great experience.
Thank you so much. Before you go, if you can share a positive message or a positive quote, something that inspires you in life.
So my sponsor, there are two things that he always says. And when I first went into recovery, one of the first things I try to do every morning is, when I get out of the shower, look in the mirror and say, I am good enough. Keep saying that to yourself over and over again. The other thing is, If you're having a bad day, the mantra is, it's okay to just be okay. It's okay to be okay. Every day in life doesn't have to be perfect and beautiful. Sometimes it's just going to be okay. And that's fine. That's great, actually. So that's what I will leave you with.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And just adding to that as well, smile every morning in the mirror and you're going to see a big difference in your life. Right. It's powerful. It's simple, but very powerful.
But it's those small moments that make you feel better, because we do forget to smile. We do forget to say, hey, you know what? I'm good. I'm good enough. I'm a good person. Not everybody might see that, but it doesn't matter. I know. So,
very good. Chris, thank you so much for the interview. Keep in touch. And it was
absolutely
a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much. Okay, take care. Enjoy your Sunday. Take care.
Have a lovely Sunday night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take care. So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why do you like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye-bye. See you next time.